Hello and welcome to the November 2022 Longevity Review, presented by the Canadian Longevity Association, a federally incorporated nonprofit whose mission is to accelerate the introduction of effective longevity treatments and to ensure their free availability to all Canadians under the provincial healthcare system. My name is Chris Linnell, and I am the founder and president of the association. We are a volunteer-run organization and are just starting out. So we could certainly use your help regardless of your skills or time availability. If you would like to help us achieve our mission, then please fill out our volunteer registration form. Or contact us on our website or our Facebook group. There we get eventually, and or indeed our Twitter account. Or indeed even just email me directly if you have my email. So yes, getting into this now that the plug is over. In terms of CLA news, we just had our 1-year anniversary of incorporation and had a lovely meal and conversations at the Amsterdam Brewery in Toronto. Hopefully you might be able to join us next year. So our anniversary is 18th of November, in case you were wondering. We're still at the very early stages, as I say, of this organization's growth. As I've mentioned before, I'm currently conducting a rapamycin trial. Rapamycin is the drug I believe is closest to prime time in the longevity field, and a number of people are testing it out, myself included. Now, I'm planning on doing a separate video series on my experiences with rapamycin, which you will be able to find on our YouTube channel eventually. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say that I've just had my first after results, had my blood work done in advance of my annual checkup last week. And the blood work was 3 months after the last time, and I did this to see what the before and after effects are. Now, kind of long story short, I put the results of the blood work into the Morgan Levine PhenoAge calculator, and it's according to that, at least, which I do take with a fistful of salt. It reduced my PhenoAge reduced from 41.1 years to 35.7. Now, again, I don't take this too seriously, but at least it seems to show that certain parameters regarding my blood work is moving in the right direction. Now, if you so wish, you can actually see my my pre and post results according to the calculator via the newsletter. So yeah, here's my before. We can see my 41.12 to be more precise age, and post one. All right, there it says 35.73. And again, this calculator uses 9 different parameters from albumin, creatinine, glucose or fasting glucose, C-reactive protein, lymphocyte count, mean cell volume, red cell distribution with alkaline phosphatase, white blood cells, and your actual age. But I will go through this, as I say, in more detail in a separate video series. The one sort of negative side is that, the one in terms of my blood work, the one bad result was that my H1AC level was 6.6, which puts me in the diabetic range, actually. And that is actually one issue with rapamycin, or one potential issue with rapamycin, is sort of glucose dysregulation. and I've been wearing a continuous glucose monitor to sort of keep a track of that. I need to investigate these results more thoroughly, which I will be sharing all in a later video review, which again you will be able to find on our YouTube channel. Now, going on to the November roundup, where I just show my top 4 or 5 picks of the month in terms of the most important scientific publications in the longevity field. And the first one actually is not one from November, one that somehow slipped through my net, my all-encompassing net. Is actually back in April. But I thought it was important enough to be the lead item for November's roundup. I should say that this paper is all to do about epigenetic reprogramming, which if you've seen some previous videos of mine or read my newsletter, know that I am very excited about. Now, epigenetic reprogramming or partial epigenetic reprogramming, also sometimes known as cellular reprogramming, involves attempting to rejuvenate a cell by changing or rejuvenating the epigenome of that cell. Now, the epigenome, if you know what the genome means, obviously contains our DNA, which doesn't change. However, the epigenome are markers on top of the genome, which basically tells the cell which genes to turn on and off, because of course we all have the same DNA in each cell, but our cells are different. A neuron is very different from a muscle cell, for example, and it's the epigenome which regulates that difference. And scientists have found out that found out that it is actually possible to rejuvenate that rejuvenate that epigenome back to a much earlier state. In fact, induced pluripotent stem cells basically take an old cell and turn it back so that it is pretty much the same as an embryonic cell. Now, which is quite exciting. In fact, in 2016, it was shown that in a living organism, a mouse, it could rejuvenate the entire organism when used selectively. Now, very exciting. However, up until now, all attempts at cellular reprogramming have needed to use kind of a form of gene therapy, or certainly genetic manipulation, which would not really be that feasible in humans. So they are good proof of principles, but we need, for it to be applicable to us, we would need some other method, some druggable method, to give it a better name. And this is indeed what this paper is showing. I mentioned up here that a preprint, so not hadn't been fully reviewed in a scientific journal, came out a couple months ago, which I was excited about. And then, as I say, recently discovered that an actual published paper had already come out in April. And this paper, I should look at the Nature sort of summary, which came out in August. But in this one, the scientists basically found a cocktail of 16 small molecules. I won't go through all those names. You can see in front of you. And by using these chemicals, they were able to bring back the cell to a more youthful, pluripotent state. And this is very early days. This was sort of done in cells, but if this turns out to actually work in humans and actual organisms, it is a much easier path to translation into humans, so that we potentially could benefit from this new technique. And as the authors of this sort of little mini review state, This opens up further avenues for the regenerative field by providing an opportunity to select appropriate starting. No, hold on. Sorry, that is not the best. The best summary. Yeah. So this proposed approach has significant promise for stimulating in vivo repair. So that means in the actual organism and regeneration of patients' endogenous cells, which means their own, well, the cells in their own bodies. And most importantly, this method minimizes the risk of tumorigenesis associated with viral methods. So, well, the viral methods were the genetic ones, because they actually also involved, well, I guess a virus to change the genetic material. And tumorigenesis basically means the induction of cancer. That is one of the potential problems with the older methods, is that they could potentially lead to the formation of cancer, which would not be very life extending, I don't think. Anyway, this very early days with this, but very exciting results. And as I say, more a proof of principle that it is that through chemical means it could be possible to reprogram cells. Moving on from first proof of principles onto another hot topic that was as hot as cellular reprogramming is now a few years ago, but is much further advanced, and that is senolytics. And a brief reminder: senolytics is the removal of senescent cells, and senescent cells are basically cells in our bodies which have malfunctioned, and instead of being removed by our immune systems, they kind of just hang around causing trouble, like secreting all sorts of inflammatory molecules, and leading to general body senescence, which means causes all sorts of problems to our bodies. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight the latest advances in using senolytics for the treatment of skin, because let's face it, even though we might not want to admit it, most of us care about our looks and are a little bit vain and like to, appear more youthful if that is possible. I mean, of course, I want to be more youthful, not just skin deep, but throughout my whole body. But I wouldn't complain about having more youthful skin. And the two papers I highlighted here just involve the use of senolytics to potentially rejuvenate skin. Now, both of these papers, they used human skin, but which was implanted in mice, special mice, I think nude mice that don't have hair or something. And the mice were given the senolytics, but the human skin grafts were then tested to see what effect it had on them. And in the first one, basically here it is. So the aged human skin grafts treated with BPTES, their name for their senolytic, exhibited increased collagen density, increased cell proliferation in the dermis, part of the skin layer, and decreased aging-related secretory phenotype. So again, some of this bad stuff that senescent cells send out, such as matrix, metalloproteinase, and interleukin. So don't know too much about those, but anyway, it's a good thing that they decreased. And it says here the effects were maintained 1 month after termination of the treatment. And so inclusion, selective removal of senescent dermal fibroblasts can improve the skin aging phenotype. So sort of a slight rejuvenation there. And in the second paper, using this is only the abstract, couldn't read the actual paper itself, but using a more not traditional, but long-standing senolytic navitoclax. They also, our results indicate that, once again, they use this skin graft model in a mouse. So the results indicate that selective removal of senescent skin cells with ABT, the name for navitoclax, ABT263, can improve the aging phenotype of human skin without side effects. So I couldn't really get into more detail here, but again, seemed to be a positive result. And I should just say there is actually a skin cream which has been released, I think called OneSkin or something like that. No, well, quickly, yeah, it's OneSkin. It is available. You can buy it. It's expensive. I have not tried it. I'm interested in seeing its results. However, apart from a toxicity study, which is available on their website, I haven't seen any human results or any published human results. They sort of make various claims, but I like to wait until there are at least some published studies. So, but something to potentially to watch out for. And as I say, if you want to give them a try, it is available for you to purchase now. But again, buyer beware. No human published studies yet. Moving on to a slightly sort of different topic that I don't cover as much. I'm trying to cover more is to do with longevity from a reproductive standpoint. I mean, I'm somebody who doesn't want to have children, so I haven't really thought much about it myself, but obviously lots of other people do. So, and especially now with people tending to have children a lot later, the need for intravenous fertilization, or IVF, has grown. And I know that certainly the older a woman is, the more difficult it is to conceive via IVF. So anything that can improve that, prove that the rate of success, is to be encouraged. And in this case, there are two studies here from the same group, which actually used rapamycin to improve the viability of egg cells and to improve the quality of embryos and their maturation rate. Now, I mean, I must admit, I don't know much about embryology and all of this, but I'll just point out a few things. So by using rapamycin, I think it had reduced misaligned chromosomes, less reactive oxygen species, but also important. I should use look at the Leaf lifespan.io write-up, which so yes, whenever there is a study that also has the lifespan.io write-up, I include that. I volunteer for them still and provide them with research material. So here, for example, they found that in terms of eggs which were able to mature, 86% of the rapamycin treated group matured, whereas only 75% of the control group matured. Parthenogenic activation treatment, a form of stimulated fertilization. Rapamycin again improved from 50 compared to control. Rapamycin was at 54% compared to the 41% control. Similar with cellular division, 48% to 33%. And here's the misaligned chromosomes. So 39% of the control group had misaligned chromosomes, while only 20% of the rapamycin group did. And also less reactive oxygen species. 14 in the rapamycin group and 49 in the control group. And in terms of, here it is, the number of high quality embryos produced by this. And high quality embryos are, the embryos which are more likely to lead to actual birth and are successful outcomes. In the rapamycin, 12 out of 34 were high quality, whereas in the control group, only 5 out of 39 were high quality. So fair bit of difference there. And the other paper was fairly similar. I'll just say that one of the differences was that the maturation rate after 48 hours was 63% in the control group and 82% in the rapamycin group. And once again, there were more high quality embryos in the rapamycin compared to control groups. So I think the researchers were next going to be, actually giving birth to mice and using these methods and seeing if the mice were normal and grew to, had normal lives and all of that. But still, so this is not available now for IVF, but could potentially improve the success rate and improve a lot of the stress and misery of the whole process, as it can be quite long and lengthy and unfortunately heartbreaking in many cases when it is unsuccessful. So hopefully lead to a lot more happy couples in the future. And moving now to a paper that caught my eye, and something I wanted to sort of point out more than anything, which was that in the sort of the longevity or even it's like biohacking supplemental community, there seems to be a percentage of people who sort of give a higher preponderance, higher weight of importance to sort of trying to use, let's call it, natural supplements compared to, synthetic drugs, or sort of trust supplement companies more than they do big pharma, because it's big bad pharma and they're just out for money and all this type of thing. And so people might decide in some cases, look for natural alternatives to established drugs. And this study caught my eye because it looked at the difference between statins, which sometimes get a bit of a bad rep, but I've seen a lot of good stuff about them nonetheless, and certain supplements. And as it turns out that, at least according to this study, 5 milligrams per week, 5 milligrams of rosuvastatin basically reduced LDL cholesterol by 35% compared to, here we go, compared to a list of natural supplements. So they compared this statin against fish oil, cinnamon, garlic, turmeric, plant sterols, and red yeast rice, which is where the original statin came from, I believe. And here, did I say 35%? Actually, 30, whereas all the other, you can see from this chart, all the others, some of them reduced it a little bit, 2%, 3%, 6%. I don't think, however, none of those sort of reached statistical significance. The rosuvastatin reduced it by 37.9%. Where did I get my 35 from? I don't know. And looking at other markers, so there wasn't really much change in C-reactive protein, regardless. Though it seemed to get worse under cinnamon. Percent change in HDL, so the good cholesterol. Though these definitions are kind of changing at the moment. These produce sort of similar effects for a lot of them. But when looking at total cholesterol, once again, the statin, 24.42% statistical significance. And also the triglyceride levels, you can see both of all these markers decreased quite significantly. So if you're looking at reducing your cholesterol, reducing your LDL cholesterol, then I would say, at least according to this study, it looks like the pharmaceutical drug is superior to the supplement. I just realized I wanted to check how many people. It was done over 28 days. I want to see how big the study size was. Oh, 190 participants completed the study. So it wasn't a huge study again, but still, yeah, I'd say choose the drug or substance which has passed phase 3 trials if you can. If it is not prohibitively expensive, that is. And lastly, in the from the roundup, again, another study, so it's slightly different here. Another study which just caught my eye. A sort of a simple solution for people with who are suffering from hearing loss and are worried about getting dementia. It's a very simple means of reducing the risk, which is get a hearing aid. I've been seeing a few things about this whereby loss of hearing or reduced hearing ability can actually lead to or can worsen dementia. Maybe it's the lack of cognitive stimulation via sound. Who knows? But there seems to be a pronounced effect. So this is a meta-analysis of 15 studies. Some were randomized controlled, some weren't, but around 800 people taking part. And it says, here it is. So hearing aids might improve cognitive performance in domains such as executive function in subjects without, here it is, yeah. For subjects without dementia, improvements were found in global cognition, executive function, and episodic memory. For those with depressive symptoms, improvements were found in immediate memory, global cognition, and executive function. Unfortunately, once you already had Alzheimer's disease or dementia, no improvements were found. But still, seems like a rather simple solution, at least to mitigate your risk of getting dementia if you are suffering from hearing loss. And another talk, sticking on the subject of, I guess, dementia or cognition. Another sort of, moving on to the supplemental section now. Here is the, here's a study of the American Heart Association's Life Simple 7, which, which are simple lifestyle choices, 7 simple lifestyle choices, which involve losing weight, reducing your blood sugar, managing blood pressure, getting active, eating better, and controlling your cholesterol, as well as stopping smoking if you did, leads to a lower risk of dementia. I mean, here it's just showing a 6% reduction, which doesn't seem a lot, but if I go all the way to the bottom here, eventually, yes, here we go. When those 7 potential lifestyle risk factors were looked at individually, you can see here, diet, physical activity, smoking, etc., and the amount of risk reduction depending on if someone followed these these lifestyle choices poorly, intermediately, or ideally. And you can see how diet, physical activity, not smoking, total cholesterol, and fasting plasma glucose really resulted in reduced risk. Well, enough BMI seemed to go in the other direction, and there didn't seem to be much there with blood pressure. But again, this is just stating the obvious, stating what you probably know already, but just keeping following a healthy lifestyle obviously has its benefits. And I just wanted to remind people of that, and that's about it. Now, much more specifically, and sticking with lifestyle and sticking with exercise, question often is, how much exercise do you need to do? What is the ideal amount? What is the most beneficial type? And I mean, I'll just say here that out of the two main types of exercise, aerobic and resistance, both are very important. But the importance of resistance exercise and gaining muscle mass and strength has become increasingly important in recent years to ward off sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscles, and to ward off frailty. So people who have more muscles and are stronger, like measured through grip strength, have lower overall mortality as well as lower overall frailty. Anyway, this study here looked at how much resistance exercise is beneficial, and they came up with a figure of optimal benefits achieved around 60 minutes per week. So not a humongous amount. I mean, it's not saying you need to be in the gym every day, and simply benefits improved up to sort of 60 minutes per week. So that that might just be a 1 or 2 exercise sessions. I mean, personally, I do resistance exercise twice a week at home. I don't want to waste money on a gym membership. A couple dumbbells and my own body weight and the force of gravity and all that. A resistance band. All I need to hopefully improve my muscle mass and strength. And probably, to be honest, I probably don't even do 60 minutes myself, but it's good to know that they're suggesting that you don't need to do several hours worth. However, they are saying people who do more than 60 minutes, there's no convincing reason for healthy individuals to reduce their resistance exercise activities. And moving on. And well, since we're on the subject of exercise, I also just wanted to point out this review of curcumin, sort of the main active ingredient of turmeric, the yellow Indian curry spice, and just wanted to show. I think there's a graph, diagram. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say that's curcumin. I've seen a few studies before that seem to show that curcumin was good for exercise performance, recovery, muscle damage, and pain, sort of post-exercise pain. That curcumin blocked the increase in inflammation associated with exercise. It blocked reactive oxygen species, so those are oxidants from the antioxidants things. So reduced muscle damage, as I've just sort of said, and improved exercise performance by also decreasing muscle pain afterwards. And after my every time I do my resistance exercise, I drink a turmeric containing drink. Sort of put a gram or so in it, along with creatine and collagen and a few other things. So yeah, just again, this review. Read the review. It's very readable to find out how curcumin could improve your exercise performance, so you can help build up that muscle mass. Continuing on here, taking a look at popular supplement, nicotinamide mononucleotide, or otherwise known as NMN. And finally, this year, a large number of studies have started coming out, and here are the latest two to have done so. And just briefly go through them. So the first one, very small study, only I think 14 participants, the rough age of 81, who are also, I think, did they have? Yes, they also had diabetes, and this is just the abstract available. So, but now they sort of said that it was safe. It was they used a dose of 250 milligrams over 24 weeks, and they said it was safe to use. And they they say it did not improve grip strength or walking speed. However, looking at the data at least available in the abstract here, they seem to have increased their grip strength, like by 1.25 kilograms in the NMN group compared to minus 0.44 kilograms in the control group, and the walking speed improved by 0.033%, not 33%, 33 meters per second in the NMN group, and only by 0.014 meters per second in the placebo group. But again, because this was only 14 participants, like a 7 in each group, you know, that did not reach statistical significance. If it had been larger numbers of people with the same results, it could have reached statistical significance. But anyway, it's moving in the right direction. And they, however, said there was an improved prevalence of frailty in the NMN group, which almost reached statistical significance. But anyway, of course, I can't say any more than that. So what that means, well, just saying that sentence means that there was less frailty in the NMN group. But yeah, don't know the details more than that. And here, the second study was just a safety study as well. But interesting enough, they injected NMN. This was intravenous NMN. First time I've seen that employed in a human study, because quite often, actually, that's how they do it in mice and rats. They inject it. So some of the more positive results that often occur in rats and mice might be due to injection, but who knows? Anyway, this is just a very preliminary study, and they basically discovered that it was safe. It didn't damage, it raised NAD levels without damaged red blood cells, and it significantly reduced blood triglycerides. But yeah, you can read this study. This was not just the abstract, but anyway, first time I've seen it being injected into humans. So again, still early days. Hopefully by the end of the year, when I do my end of year review, I should take a look at all the human studies out this year as a whole, and start maybe getting getting a feeling, some indication as to the benefits or lack thereof for NMN. I should just say that I personally take 500 milligrams a day. I don't notice anything, but then again, I don't notice anything with anything I'm taking, as I'm generally, hopeful, touch wood, generally healthy. Last couple now, before I wrap things up, I just wanted to point out another tiny study, but it was interesting, using genistein, which is found in soybeans, I believe. And here they had a trial in Alzheimer's, where, no thanks, where they gave, how many people was it? Only 24, yeah, 24 people, 220 milligrams of genistein for 12 months. And in prodromal Alzheimer's patients, that, I mean, I think that means early stage Alzheimer's. So you're starting to get it, but it's not too bad yet. Anyway, they took the genistein for 12 months, and at the end of it, it improved numerous markers of cognitive ability. Let's go down to the graphs. You can maybe see. So here, oh no, that's the plasma interaction time. So yeah, the cognitive, the effects. Black is the control, red is the genistein or genistein, and well, people on the control got worse. Sorry, people on placebo got worse. People on genistein got better, and similar results can be seen. These are all the various different cognitive tests they employed, and for the most part, you can see the decline isn't as bad in the genistein group as it is in the control group. But again, 24, 12 patients in group, tiny trial. And unfortunately, there have been too many instances where early trials in an Alzheimer's drug are look positive, and then it gets to phase 3 and it fails spectacularly. And just maybe mention that, yeah, there's been actually in November, I guess there was the news about one of the a pharmaceutical drug being having positive results, but I don't trust it so much because it's all involving the amyloid hypothesis, which in my opinion has failed so far. But we'll see. We need more different avenues against Alzheimer's. Though I could say that in my own opinion, Alzheimer's is simply another symptom or manifestation of aging. If we treat aging, then Alzheimer's will be treated in its wake. And let's go look at our final study now. So started by me talking about rapamycin and myself. I thought I might as well end with looking at rapamycin again. And this is just interesting. The study in mice, looking at how rapamycin compared to calorie restriction or dietary restriction, as they call it here, fights infection in mice, because people have a fear of rapamycin because it's being used, because its initial indication was in organ transplantation to try to help suppress the immune system, which it can do in high doses. So people worry about that it might taking rapamycin might increase your risk of infection, whereas this study in mice, at least, seemed to show that at least compared to dietary restriction, because another thing I should say that quite often rapamycin is considered just a dietary restriction mimetic, which means that it's just aping the effects of dietary restriction, which I disagree with as well, actually, based on some other studies I've seen. And in this case as well, rapamycin, and here we can see it, rapamycin was beneficial for the survival of mice if they were infected by a pathogen. So dietary restriction in black here, to the right is bad, to the left is good. So the average for dietary restriction was negative. Rapamycin seemed to show an improvement, so it was positive. So again, it's only in mice, but slightly lessens my fear of getting a pathogen, a bad pathogen of infection whilst I am on rapamycin. Anyway, I think we've reached the end here. November wasn't the most exciting of months in the longevity field, but that's how it goes. Some months are blockbusters, some months are a bit fallow, and yeah, November was a bit fallow. But anyway, if you have any questions about anything you have heard today, or indeed if you read my newsletter, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and also love to get feedback as well. So if you are seeing this on our YouTube channel, please hit the like button, and also please leave a comment below. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, goodbye, and take care and stay safe.